Welcome to the Heaven on Earth podcast, a world where you study the story you were born into and redesign it into the story you choose. A world where you can have heaven on earth right here, right now, no matter the past. For me, heaven on earth is a holistic experience, leading with the heart, engaging with mind, body, and spirit. It's mindful, fostering calm and secure attachments. As we rise into consciousness, it's an earthly journey where we sensually embrace dynamic living. Once we transform our story, we evolve. So heaven on earth is all about evolution. And what I like to say is our re-evolution. Our re-evolution. So in heaven on earth, we have what I call a coherent and congruent life experience. Really mark those words, coherence and congruence. And what that means is that we can finally align our mind, our body, our spirit, and our heart. Because when we are born into this human story, we know our heart. We know what we feel. We know what turns us on, right? And then we're taught all of these beliefs, be it through our religion, through our race, through our ethnicity, our culture. We are given all these beliefs. We are given them. We don't choose them. We are given them. Over here is our heart. Over here are our beliefs, our mind. And then we have these experiences, these spiritual experiences. And what I mean by spiritual is the experiences of the non-visible. And that can be quantum energy. That can be just energy itself. That could be God for some of us. That can be angelic frequencies for other of us. Whatever the non-visible is, we have these experiences throughout our life. And so that's what spirit means. And then there's our body, our beautiful vessel, our vehicle. And our vehicle is this vessel that we're always interacting with, that is giving us messages in this life experiences, that is helping us survive through a pharmacy, through all of these chemicals that we have in our body, and we are interacting with it, with our central nervous system. But in the story that we are born into, all of that is incoherent, incongruent. And part of what I see as the healed life experience, heaven on earth experience, is when we start to align all of that. When we start to say, this belief feels good with my heart, which connects with the non-visible, the invisible, which is my spirit and my body. So I come into full alignment. And for me, that experience of a coherent, congruent, aligned life is heaven on earth. The other thing that heaven on earth is about threading together these moments of aligned experiences, what I call the me of me. And sometimes that happens when we're 8 years old, when we discover that we are completely turned on by Legos, or completely turned on by dancing, or there's certain music, or there's certain people that we are so attracted to. The me of me experience, the fully aligned experience, the full body turn on experience. And over of chapters in our life, we feel that over and over again, this alignment. Now, when we start to become healed, when we start to really reflect, do the O in Ote, the observation part, when we start saying, this is me, which is a mindful experience, right? It's the mindfulness of observing who we are. And when we start to thread these moments of mindful experiences together, that's heaven on earth. When we wake up and align to the non-visible, and then we decide that walking our dog is part of that mindful experience. When over and over we begin to thread experiences that are mindful, that are reflective, that are internal, and we begin to realize, oh, this is me, this is my coherent self, that's heaven on earth. The other way that heaven on earth exists is through realizing that we can calm our central nervous system no matter what happened to us before. And I say that as a psychotherapist who leads others into this heaven on earth experience of finding ourselves, of calming our central nervous system, of having threaded mindful experiences of a coherent self. I say it as a psychotherapist, but I also say it as a trauma survivor myself, a survivor of complex post-traumatic stress disorder that showed up in my life through high anxiety, through phobias, through depressions, through toxic relationships. All of those are signals of trauma, signals. And when we are in the stage of observation, remember OTE, observation, transmutation, transformation, and evolution with a little accent on the E, OTE. When we start doing that process, in order to find a congruent, coherent, aligned self, is when we realize, oh, through all the processes, tools, and groups and teachers that we have that can provide us instruction, guidance on how to calm our central nervous system, that is heaven on earth. Heaven on earth is a commitment to a calm central nervous system. So what are the ones we have so far? We have OTE as a tool. We have the fact that the wounds are our gift. We have the coherent, aligned mind, body, spirit, heart. Holistic healing is heaven on earth. We have the concept of threading together mindful experiences. That's heaven on earth. We have a commitment to a central nervous system. That's heaven on earth. That's heaven on earth. So let's keep going. What else is heaven on earth? And this is just according to me. And as I'm speaking, see if it resonates. Adult bonds of secure attachment. Listen, there is so much information today, 2023, on what a calm central nervous system feels like, what an aligned experience, life experience feels like. And there's so much information on attachment styles. And all attachment styles there are four, there are actually five. And it's a theory that posits that who our attachment figures were when we were children, that we will replicate that type of attachment style when we are adults. So whether we were raised in a secure attachment environment, an anxious attachment environment, a disorganized attachment environment, we're going to talk about this more in other episodes, but in this one in particular, what I am saying is that in the story that we are creating, no matter what story we were born into, basically, no matter what attachment styles were taught to us as children, we can choose to create a secure attachment style as adults. Through our healing And through our choosing, creating, redesigning a heaven on earth life, we can and will choose to be devoted to secure adult attachment styles through our healing. In heaven on earth, we get to choose. We get to prefer how we live, whom we love, whom we choose to live with. We have preferences. And in heaven on earth, preferences are boundaries. So we don't have to explain our preferences. We just get to choose them. And by choosing, by having free will and choice, we immediately establish boundaries. What gets allowed in and what we can leave out. So, at the core, at the nucleus of heaven on earth living is free will and choice. Think of it. Think of it. Feel it in your body. When we get to choose, we are free. We are the free human. Now that includes our culture, because sometimes we are shackled by traditions, cultural traditions, racial traditions, ethnic traditions. We are shackled by what our parents believed, what our grandparents believed, ancestral traditions. And so think of it, when a child becomes a teen or an adult, the battle is really the battle of choice. Of choice. Who gets to choose? And choosing, when we are fully in choice, we are fully freedom. And so freedom, choice, preference all goes together. So in heaven on earth living, choice is at the center of it. Now, choice requires that we know ourselves well, which is why going back to holistic healing, mind, body, spirit, and heart, when that alignment happens, when we know ourselves fully, when we are fully turned on by the me of me, is when we are in full free will and full choice. That's heaven on earth. Okay, what is the language of heaven on earth? What is the language of heaven on earth? Respect. I respect myself. I respect what I believe in. I respect who I'm choosing to be. And therefore, I will grant you respect. I respect you. So the frontier, the parameter and perimeter around me is actually my chosen and preferred preferences, choices. And that creates my parameter and perimeter. And so within respect is this idea of self-worth, of loving myself. And all of that requires healing. Healing from my original story. So heaven on earth means that I respect myself and my choices and my mistakes. I respect them. Why? Because those were wounds that I alchemized into gifts. That's heaven on earth. And once I have gone through that journey and that process, I can respect your journey, and your process. So the language of heaven on earth is respect. Do you see how this doesn't require dying and going to heaven? How all those concepts of what heaven is can be here and can be now and can be something that we are creating, that we start by creating in the individual, in you, in your life journey, in your life story. We start there. We start there. Then, as that happens to us in my individual journey, as I heal from my own post traumatic stress, as I heal from my anxiety and my depression, as I do that heavy lifting, what I call the bridge and tunnel work, as I do that, and then I can begin to reach for my heaven on earth here. And by the way, I've worked with so many people in my psychotherapy practice where they're already living in heaven on earth, where they are already finding their full me of me alignment, their holistic alignment, where they are choosing to be committed to a calm central nervous system. But once they do that for themselves, of course, it ripples to their families. Now, this isn't an easy process. Creating heaven on earth individually is not an easy process because sometimes it does mean that we do a lot of cord cutting, that we decide that we will no longer live in trauma bonding, that we will no longer be attached to toxic relationships, that we decide and commit to adult bonds of secure attachment, where there is respect, where there is healing, where there is profound conversation with a ton of self reflection. Once that happens, think of the three ripples. Amanda Flaker talks about this: the self, others, and then the planet. This is not utopic. This can happen here and now. It can happen here and now. Now, get this. I believe that the small is in the all and the all is in the small. And all that means is that whatever is happening to me as an individual is actually happening out there in the collective. Why is that important today in 2023? Because COVID created a planetary experience where everyone had to go inside, literally. We're getting in touch with our breath and our body was essential in order to survive. Where we got a planetary and collective wake up call that something has to change. Now, when that happens to the individual, that means that maybe there's a divorce, maybe there's a DUI, maybe there's a cancer. When we get an immense wake up call that something has to happen that feels different, where we say to ourselves, I have got to change the way that I am doing things. So that happens to individuals. And that happens on the planet. A big eruption, an explosion, what I call the sleeping volcano. The sleeping volcano is the moments in our life where things cannot go on the way they are going on because we are a car crash, a train wreck ready to happen. Sometimes we have to experience great losses. We get these call outs along the way. And personally, the way that I work as a psychotherapist with depression and anxiety and phobias, the way that I work them in myself and work them with my clients is these are just wake up calls. So let's listen. And that's what's happening on the planet. Huge wake up call. And the first place to go with healing all across the board is to go inside. So everyone on the planet had to go inside. And we had to look at our lives the way we do in therapy, the way we do in meditation, the way we do in silent retreats. We have to go inside and look at what the heck is going on. What the heck? I have to look at my old story, the original story that I was born into. And I got to go in and tinker and vomit and change and adapt, right? Observation and transmutation are the first steps of Ote. And the whole planet had to do it. And these are the questions. Do I like where I'm living? Do I like who I'm living with? Do I like myself? Is this who I want to be? Is this where I want to work? Is this me? Those were the questions. Those are the questions in a self-reflective life. Those are the questions when we want to heal. Do I want to continue being this person? Is this what my next 30 years are going to look like? And those are the questions for the planet. The questions of, am I going to continue in this war vibe? This war vibe with myself, hating myself, which means that I automatically hate others, which means that I automatically hate humanity. It's all connected. If I hate myself, if I hate my own humanity, I am going to hate other humans. And what does that do? It creates a war vibe existence when I'm on the highway, when I'm at Target in line, when I'm looking at the news, when I'm looking at people who are different than me, I forget their humanity. And what does the war vibe do over and over and over again since the beginning of time, since Cain and Abel, since one brother decided to compete with another brother and ended up killing it? Now, whether you believe in that story, that parable, or not, it might just be a metaphor for what humans have been doing within themselves, which is hating themselves, and with each other. And if I hate myself, I will end up killing myself. If I am warring with myself, because I was taught to hate myself, maybe in my original story, because my race taught to hate myself, because my gender taught me to hate myself. Choose. There are so many reasons that that other humans give us to hate ourselves and therefore hate each other. If this continues, it leads to extinction. The war vibe leads to extinction. Now, in my first episode in Heaven on Earth, we talked with Amanda Flaker about the Not Enough program. And it's the Not Enough program that we're all born with. I'm not enough for some reason. Pick and choose what the reason is. I'm not enough. There is not enough. There are not enough resources, which establishes a hierarchy, right? A hierarchy in who is going to get enough. And if I'm not enough, I have got to fight to be enough. And I've got to fight myself and I've got to fight others to be enough. That creates competition and war vibe inside myself and inside of others. And so the Not Enough program keeps us fighting and leads us to death. Let me circle around. Let me pause. I'd like you to think about that. I'd like you to think about the war vibe inside yourself, the war vibe with others, maybe your family, and the war vibe on the planet. What I'd like you to circle around to is this. Let me give you the great spoiler alert of heaven on earth. This is the spoiler alert. When you 100% love yourself through your healing, through your self-reflection, through psychotherapy, through meditation, to 12th step groups, when you commit to a calm central nervous system, when you commit to be in relationships that have secure attachment, when you decide, I will no longer be at war with myself. When you decide to be committed to a coherent, congruent, aligned life experience based on respect, free will, preference, and choice, when you commit to 100% loving yourself, spoiler alert, that is heaven on earth. Lester Levinson, who was an amazing physicist, who most of my dynamic meditation work, so much of my work is based on his teachings. He said that when the love is complete, the problem is solved. When the love is complete, the problem is solved. When you completely love your body, when you completely love your life experience, no matter what you went through, when you decide, oh, all of those wounds were meant for me to alchemize and transmute, for me to do this up-leveling process of transformation and evolution, when the love is complete, the problem is solved. And that, my friends, my dear ones, my loved ones, I invite you, that is the heaven on earth experience. That is what I mean by heaven on earth. That is what spiritual seekers called ascension. Nirvana is here. Joseph Campbell, who was an expert, he's beautiful, look him up. I'm going to give you names of people to look up. Lester Levinson is one of them, Joseph Campbell, Amanda Flaker. I'm just going to give you the names of all of my teachers, of the people who have journeyed with me. I'm going to give you names. That is Nirvana. Joseph Campbell, who studied the power of myth, what mythology means to the humans and why it's so important. He said that nirvana is a state of being, which is what the Buddhists say. Nirvana is a state of beingness, how we are being in this life experience. And get this, what I hold is this. The more we spiritually ascend, the higher we get, the more healed we are. The more we reach for heaven on earth, the more we love this life experience. Teresa Davila, look her up, a 15th century nun who would talk about these orgasmic experiences with the divine. This experience in her body. And believe me, when you start to heal, when you start being able, after all the trauma that you suffered, to come back and actually be in a calm central nervous system, to be in your body, because we know that when we have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, when we have simple post-traumatic stress disorder, when our central nervous systems are jacked up by anxiety, we leave our bodies. I'm speaking to you, highly sensitive people, to you, empaths. We're going to have so many episodes on that. When we leave our body, basically, clinically, we call that dissociation. When we have left our body, it's because we can't be in it. It feels too dangerous to experience all the messaging that our body is giving us at the time. these psychic horrors that we go through, these physical horrors that we go through, one of the things that happen is that we dissociate. So little by little, as we holistically heal mind, body, heart, spirit, as we commit to a central nervous system that is calm, we slowly come back to this beautiful vessel, to this body, to this sensual vehicle, to tantric living. And all tantric living is that we are so connected to feeling, to tasting, to hearing beautiful music, beautiful voices, to seeing, to experiencing. We are so connected to the sensual, sensuous, earthly experience. When we love food, when we love water, when we love what it feels like to be outside, when we love the rain, heaven on earth means that we begin to really see the sunsets, to experience this beautiful earthly experience. So it doesn't have to be after we die, folks. Heaven isn't over there. Nirvana, heaven, ascension is here and it is now. And so let me bring it together. That's what the planet is going through as well. Mother Earth is an entity. Planet Earth is a full, alive, organic, pulsating entity. And it is going through the exact same things as we are. And it needs healing like we do. And it needs alignment. And there are a ton of wake-up calls going on, right? COVID, war, fires, ton of wake-up calls, just like our DUI, just like our second divorce, just like our panic attack on the metro, wake-up calls. There is a ton of wake-up calls going on in planet Earth. And if we exist today, you and me, if we are here today in 2023, we are meant to heed the call of heaven on earth. And I'm on a mission. This podcast is a mission. So I did it for myself individually. I went to 12 steps. I went to psychotherapy, group psychotherapy, individual, couple psychotherapy. I went to meditation groups. I read about self-help. I did all the work in my own body. When I needed medication, I took it. I did psychedelic psychotherapy because there's so much wisdom in the resources from the earth, all of it. And then I expanded it to my family. And then I expanded it. I start the transformation process. I expanded it to my career. I decided that I was going to be a psychotherapist. And then I expanded it even more. You know what? Even if people can't see me as clients, I'm going to give workshops through dynamic meditation method. Workshops, workshops, workshops. Then I expanded it in 2022 to the empath leader and heeding a call to empaths because we are the bridge builders right now, today in 2023. The empath is the bridge builder. And I'm going to have a whole episode on what that means. 2023, since 2020 to now, and it's going to continue. The earth, planet Earth, is going through the exact same experience, this lifting of the veil of what we can no longer endure. And let me be clear, we can no longer endure the war vibe because we as a humanity will become extinct. We can no longer endure self-hate as individuals because it is playing out in our relationships, not only being married or with our children, it is expanding to self-hating other humans. We can no longer endure that. We can no longer endure the disconnection of mind, body, heart, and spirit. The invisible exists. The visible exists, and we must bring it together. Everything right now is about alignment, coherent, and congruence. We must bring it all together. We cannot endure this disconnectedness. Now, we can reach for individuation, for uniqueness. Yes. Bringing our unique gifts to the planet is what's going to heal us. However, it cannot be done in a backdrop or a foundation of feeling separate from one another. Our foundation has to be the foundation of being the same as humans. We are one species, a human species. And as we heal that root chakra of humanity, that foundational base of humanity, right, which is where we start in therapy, we start with the original program, the root chakra. We heal the root chakra first, the survival place, the stability place, the place of safety. We heal that first, the body. And then we reach for individuation. And then we reach for our uniqueness, for our preferences. So if that is true for me as a human, it is true for us as a collective humanity. It is true for us as a planet. Let us heal as a humanity. Let us go in there. So this is what I mean. No matter where our story started, we can end heaven on earth. And it's time. So let me make a call. First, let me invite you through your own personal healing, through healing the history of your ancestors, of your race, of your culture, of your ethnicity, of your humanity. Let me start with that invitation. For those of you who are getting super lit up by what I am saying, it is very likely that you are a bridge builder. I'm a bridge builder. I'm a bridge builder between the old story, your old story, and your new story. I'm a bridge builder between the old earth and the new earth. The earth that we must create in order to keep alive as a species. For those of you who feel turned on by this message, it is likely that you are a light worker, a bridge builder, a way shower. This is you. Now, it doesn't mean that you've got to go do a ton of activism out on planet Earth. It might just mean that you are the one person in your family that heals from ancestral trauma. If you do that, you will have ripples. Listen, on my website, it says, be the pilot of your soul and the ripple on the planet. That you being the one who comes into full alignment with mind, body, heart, and spirit, you doing that you doing OTE, observation, transmutation, transformation, you are the one in your family who creates evolution. And that's where we are, my loves, my dears, my friends, my colleagues. That's where we are. That's where the planet is. The planet is trying to evolve. Now, it also means that you're a trauma riser. And that's a phrase that I've coined, that we move from trauma surviving into trauma rising. And that's going to be the difference between old earth and new earth. Heaven on earth is this. This is where I am heading, and I'm headed in my own personal life, and I'm headed to start bringing this message, start just drumming. I am drumming. I'm going to keep the beat to heaven on earth. It is not abstract. It is not utopic. It is not after we die. It is here and now, and it is essential and it is important. Now, check it out. I know a lot of you are seeing all of these eruptions and explosivenesses on the planet right now. I get it. That makes sense. It is the bridge and tunnel work. I call it 3 volumes. This is how I work in individual session with individuals. This is exactly what's happening on planet Earth. In volume 1 is the story you were born into. Your ancestry, your ethnicity, your culture, your traumas, your wounding, your abuse, whatever. It is the story you were born into. You were unconscious. It has a veil over it. You cannot see what's happening. You're just taking it all in. Okay? The story you were born into. I'm going to do a whole episode on these 3 volumes. The middle story is what I call the sleeping volcano starts to wake up. In my case, it happened in the 20s, my 20s. It's what I call the roaring 20s, right? It's when you're having toxic relationships, you become super anxious, you go through bouts of depression, you're doing blackout drinking, you're having reckless sex everywhere. Those explosions, those identity explosions, it might be where you start feeling attracted to people you never thought you'd be attracted to, etc. These identity explosions begin to happen. There's 2 choices there during these explosions. One is to stay in the pattern looping over and over and over until the messages get stronger, your depressions get stronger, your blackouts last longer, your anxiety become a phobia, the war vibe, the internal self-hate, the internal war vibes. Volume 2. The second choice in volume 2 is to actually do the work, to actually do the healing work. It doesn't mean you're not having toxic relationships. It doesn't mean that the anxiety is calm. No. It doesn't mean you're not doing what I call the bridge and tunnel work. You're literally spelunking through, you're crawling your way through. I did. I crawled my way through some of my wounds with a therapist, with groups, with support, with help, with reading. In today and age, there is no excuse. We've got YouTube University, which I love saying because there's so much you can learn from. There's therapists on there. We've got Instagram. There's so much free access to healing. 12-step groups are free. So much access to getting guidance, instructions, people who will hold our hands, people who will swaddle us. It's available to us in our volume 2, in spelunking, in crawling, in the bridge and tunnel work. Our planet, my loves, is going through the bridge and tunnel work. That's what you're seeing. Anytime we go through the bridge and tunnel work, it is an invitation to say, this pattern is repeating itself. What's your choice this time? What's your decision this time? Are you going to repeat the same pattern? Are you going to keep drinking? Are you going to say yes again to that abusive person? What are you going to do this time? It's an invitation to a new decision and a new choice. Guess what? The same thing goes for our planet. We keep getting invitations to do something differently. And the way that I hold it, I want you to listen to this. History will not repeat itself. when I work with people, it doesn't mean we don't loop through the same pattern over and over. But when we have healers, guides, instructions, books, amazing teachers, wisdom sharers, when we have them, and we do through YouTube University, through Instagram University, through TikTok University, through 12-step programs, when we have them, history does not have to repeat itself for us, for our family, for others, or for the planet. History does not have to repeat itself. And that's my mission. My mission. And heaven on earth can be created now. Volume 3. Volume 1 is the story that we were born into. Volume 2 is the bridge and tunnel work, is the trauma world, is the spelunking. Volume 3 is heaven on earth. Volume 3, there's a bridge. There's a bridge, and it's rocky, and it moves. And I am a bridge builder. I'm on that bridge. I'm on that bridge saying, come on, let's do it. I did it. There's people before you who did it. Let's walk over to heaven on earth, to a calm central nervous system, to secure attached relationships, through aligned experiences of life, through threaded experiences of mindful moments with our children, with our lovers, with the driver on the bus, with the person at the Starbucks who smiles at us and buys us a coffee. That's what heaven on earth can be. These beautiful experiences of heaven on earth. Yes. Yes. That's what the planet needs. That's what we need. That's what our ancestry needs. We need it now. And so join me. Join me. As you can see, I'm fired up by this. I love it. And right now, I spent a long time incubated inside, working on myself, like you, like many of you. If you're interested in this podcast, you've been doing this too. And now we're coming out. We're coming out to have the heaven on earth experience. And that's volume 3. And there's all these ingredients. And as the podcast keeps going on, we're going to keep adding ingredients of the heaven on earth experience. Ingredients. Okay. So listen, bear with me because I'm a fired up person, but I'm not great with tech. I'm not great with podcasts. I'm not great with posting. Bear with me. I'm learning. I'm not great with it looking super beautiful or me looking super beautiful or the lighting or the sound. Bear with me, but just know that everything that I'm saying comes from my fired up empath heart and my healer heart and my bridge building and my way showing heart and my light seeking heart. So if you could just allow me to be imperfect when it comes to posting and lighting and sound and whether I look beautiful or not, I'm not as focused on those things. What I am focused on is this message, this incredible message of what heaven on earth means to me. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Let's end with a deep breath, all of us together. What I call a depositing breath. I want you to just picture pushing that breath all the way into your hips. I want you to do that again. And immediately we're in touch with our central nervous system. Putting your hands on your chest, and that immediately soothes the body. Remember, your CNS, your central nervous system, is your CVS. It is a pharmacy. So touching your body releases oxytocin, which is the trust hormone. So let's do one more time. And this time we're going to say yes, what I call my yes hails. My son, a long time ago, coined that term. So we're going to breathe in. And as we breathe out, we're going to exhale, yes. And with this, we calm our central nervous system. We align mind, body, heart, and spirit. And believe it or not, by breathing together, we connect. And these episodes are timeless. They're timeless. They speak to things from the past, from the present, and the future. So it doesn't matter when you see this or when you listen to this. It doesn't matter. We will all calm together. Thanks again. If you like this, click for notifications of what's coming. Share it. Help me spread the word of heaven on earth now in 2023.